So according to one of Egypt's top officials, this comes from the head of Egypt's State Information Service, he says that cartoons such as Tom and Jerry and video games are the motives behind the rise of violence that we've seen across the Middle East. He says 1940s American show Tom and Jerry, which is still quite popular in the Middle East, he says it portrays the violence in a funny manner, so it leads young viewers to think that violence is natural. He says video games are spreading. It has become very normal for a young man to sit down and spend long hours playing video games, killing and spilling blood, and he's happy and content to do it. Which sounds a little bit contradictory, because I'd imagine if you're happy sitting your ass on the couch, spilling blood on the TV screen, then you're less likely to go out to your local knockoff JCPenney store and buy yourself a suicide vest. But never mind the fact that the Middle East has been warring for thousands of years, and you've got tribes that are even the same religion that still hate each other because their ancestors years ago, they read stories where they hated one another. So they're just keeping that tradition going. So, I guess now we know, right? We know why, if you read American history, you start learning that in the 40s, about the time that Tom and Jerry came out, that's whenever Americans started, burning people alive in cages, started chopping off heads, blowing themselves up in crowded areas, tossing gays from rooftops, gang raping women like what's happening in parts of Europe right now, teaching children to stab and despise certain ethnic groups. This whole damn time, it was because of a cat and mouse cartoon. Did anybody else pick up on the fact that Tom and Jerry was sending us subliminal messages to become a part of a radical Islamic sect? Me neither. But the problem is, you and I, we can read a statement like that, and we know how stupid it is. Like, there's no question about it. It's all BS. It's propaganda. We can see through it. But over in a large segment of the Middle East, you've got a ton of countries that have censored the internet. They monitor the internet. There's actually been recent history where they were able to shut it completely down to stifle uprisings. And so the population at large doesn't have access to information like we do. So they can't read the studies. They can't see the statistics. And so they're fighting an information war. And so that's why you see bloggers that's been arrested and whipped. That's why whenever you watch the news, it's largely state-controlled, which means you're getting nothing but propaganda, which you also get a lot of here too, of which we've talked plenty about before. So when their populations are told by top officials that video games and Tom and Jerry are making your kids suicide bombers, a lot of people probably believe it. But I gotta be honest with you. Until a large group of people stand up and tell those populations that the real reason is because you're practicing a perverted type of extremist religion, then nothing's going to change. And I'm not saying it's the entire Muslim faith, because it's not. My God, it's one of the most practiced religions in the world. So if they wanted to chop off all of our heads, they'd all be rolling. So it's not the entire Muslim faith. But it's also not very smart to put on your blinders and to try to claim that this doesn't have anything to do with religion. So, many Muslims will come out and they say that these people don't represent their religion. It's perverting their religion. Just like many Christians will come out and tell you that the Westboro Baptist Church doesn't represent their religion. But the problem isn't a cartoon. It's not video games or movies or books. But if you can't identify a problem, then you're never going to be able to solve it. And the problem is radical Islam. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.